And joining us now, House Majority Whip Jim Clyburn, Democrat, of course, from South Carolina. Mr. Leader, thank you very much for being with us.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
So, congratulations are in order. Democrats did far better than historic precedent, from any recent midterms, first-term president, of course, with polling in the mid-40s. But, the Republicans are about to take control of the House, according to all analyses of these outstanding races. As a minority, talk to me about your own leadership. Do Democrats do better defending your top priorities with a new generation of leadership or with experienced veterans?
Well, you always want to be setting the agenda. And if we're not in the majority in the House, though there's still a pathway, maybe not as realistic as the pathway is for the Republicans to regain the majority, we are still in the game. And if we're not able to set the agenda, we certainly want to be able to affect that agenda. And I think the numbers are such that we can do that. So I don't know exactly what our leadership will look like. I think that I've demonstrated during my years here in the Congress. And of course, back in 2020, most people have been talking about that here. 2022, I went into 24 congressional districts, and I saw something out there that I wasn't getting in all the reporting. And I made those reports to people I talked to, especially in the media, the weekend before the election. We were connected with the American public. President Biden's agenda and his approach were exactly what the public seemed to want to see occur. And that's why we did as well as we did, because Joe Biden proved to be the right president at the right time in this American experiment that we call democracy, and his agenda was exactly what the public needed. Now, people judge him on style rather than substance. I always say there's no substitute for substance. And when it comes to substance, this administration, these Democrats have been very substantive in affecting the lives of the American people. We have demonstrated what our program would do for them, for their families, and for the communities. And that's why they responded so positively, and that's why we were able to defy all odds. But
let me just ask. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, sir.
I've always said that this country does not move on a linear plane. We go right for a while, then we go back left for a while. But whether we're going right to left or left to right, it's always passing through the center. And in this instance, the center held. And this country has been brought back from the brink by the voters, as they have done time and time again throughout our history. And I believe that we have been set back on course toward our pursuit of a more perfect union. And I'm very, very pleased with what happened, though I would much rather be in the majority than the minority. But I think the country was the big winner last Tuesday.
Well, let me ask you a couple of quick questions, because no question that abortion and the issue of democracy and a rejection of extremism was all part of this mix. But according to the exit polls, overwhelming majorities of people did not like the president's policies and don't want him to run again. So while he framed the issues, and there's no question that that speech about democracy and the abortion voting and where the swing voters were going, all was in the Democrats' favor for Democratic candidates. But what does this tell you about going forward in 2024? I know you were the kingmaker in 2020. Should he run again?
I said back in 2020 when everybody was advising me that I was making a mistake.
I know.
I looked at what needed to be done. I listened to my late wife at the time, who told me before she passed away that if he wanted to win, we'd better nominate Joe Biden. And I went all in for Joe Biden. And now all the experts look back and says, he's probably the only Democrat in the big field that could have won. I feel today, like I felt back then, that Joe Biden, his agenda, his approach, are the things that this country needs at the present time. This vote, if you look at the things we did, the Rescue Act, the Infrastructure Bill, the CHIPS and Science Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, the PACT Act, the Safer Communities Act. We had the biggest production of a Congress and an administration since 1965. You would have to go all the way back to the Great Society programs to see anything more productive. And I believe we can build upon that. Why do I believe that? Because so much of what we won on was the promise. Now we see the Inflation Reduction Act, the insulin cap, and as well as negotiated costs for Medicare. These things kick in as of January 1. And I think that over into next year, when people start seeing the benefit of this Inflation Reduction Act, and inflation already is pointing downward, I think the American people are going to get in touch with this president and says, we like your approach, we like your agenda, and we want you to stay in the game.
One quick question. What about the John Lewis Act in the lame duck before you lose control of the House?
Well, I have been pushing for the Democrats to attach that to our must-pass bill. Whatever we do here in the lame duck, we got to do something to make sure that we don't have another January 6th, and that's what the whole electoral college reform is all about. We got to do that. And why not attach to that bill at least the bulk of the John R. Lewis Voting Rights and Advancement Act, if nothing else, but to tie to it the kind of review that ought to take place when we have these changes in state laws. Some states are making it very difficult, even criminalizing giving people a drink of water that stand in line for 5 and 6 hours. This should not be. And I really believe that the Electoral College Reform Act, the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, ought to be folded in together and passed by the Senate. I don't know why anybody in the Senate would not want us to have fair and unfettered votes. We never would have gotten the 65 Voting Rights Act but for J. Everett Dirksen and the Republicans in the Senate. Often I laugh about the deal I had with my late wife when our first child was born. She gave me the right to come up with a name. And if it had been a boy, the name would have been J. Everett, in honor of J. Everett Dirksen. It turned out to be a girl, and she was very happy with that because she wasn't going along with my deal so well. This is not about Democrats versus Republicans. This is about right versus wrong, fair versus unfair, suppressing the vote versus encouraging the vote. And that's why we ought to pass the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Act, and it ought to be bipartisan. There ought to be 10 Republicans who would say this is something wrong with telling people you can't give a 80-year-old person a bottle of water standing in line for 5 or 6 hours. That's what they've done with some of these laws. And that's because we got rid, or the Supreme Court did, of Section 4 that authorized a review from Section 5 of the 1965 Voting Rights Act. That should not be.
Well, Mr. Leader, Jim Clyburn, your wife was a great lady. I know she was missed. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's always a privilege.
Thank you so much for having me.